Gil Fernandez has a true story that could be straight out of a horror movie. It's a tale of faith, fear, and a mysterious presence that haunted his family's first home in Puerto Rico. Get ready for goosebumps as he shares the haunted house. Please help me welcome Gil Fernandez.
Thank you very much. Whether you believe in the paranormal or not, this is a true story from my childhood that still gives my family chills. These events took place in 1974 when I was 4 years old, and I'm dating myself. It happened in a house in a suburb of San Juan, Puerto Rico, called Borinquen Gardens. We only lived there 7 months, but the time we lived there changed our perception of the world forever. And after you hear the story, it may change yours too. My parents were excited. They were first-time homeowners. They had 2 kids, a growing family. There was a baby coming. I moved to a new house, and nothing seemed unusual at first. Soon after moving in, my mom began seeing like a little kid, always out of the corner of her eye. She would hear steps darting through the hallways, maybe a shadow going into a room. She always thought it was us because we were little kids too. I was 4, my brother 2. But then when she went to check on us, we were never where she was seeing the noise, and we were in a completely different room, or we were taking a nap, or we were doing something different that it couldn't possibly be us. She still dismissed it as her imagination, and she didn't pay too much attention to that. Then came the incidents in the backyard. As we were little kids, we always liked to play out in the backyard. We started one day, we came in screaming that there was a monster in the bushes. And of course, my mom thought, he's 4, the other's 2, overactive imagination, imagining monsters in the backyard. But then it started happening repeatedly. Again and again and again, until as little kids, we did not want to go to play in the backyard anymore. She still dismissed it as, kids with wild imagination, nothing to be worried about here. But maybe she started getting a little suspicious that there might be something to it. Months passed, and she kept on seeing the little boy. She heard voices every once in a while. There was objects shifting in the house that she couldn't explain, but it wasn't anything that would scare her. Until one day, things got worse. Since we didn't like to play in the backyard anymore, on a weekend, my dad said to my mom, she was pregnant, he said, I'm going to take the kids and go play in the park. So we left, or so my mom thought. The house was a 2-story house. She used that time to go rest while we were in the house. So all of a sudden, she starts hearing little kids' voices, steps, little kids running around the house. So she started wondering what's going on here, that the kids didn't go with their dad to play with the park. So she decided she was going to go downstairs and check on us and find out why we didn't go with our dad, or why haven't we left yet. So as she started going down the stairs, all of a sudden, she felt something push her from the back, and she tumbled down the stairs. At that point, she realized that she was alone in the house. She had some bumps and bruises, but luckily nothing happened to her or my baby sister that was still in her belly. As you can imagine, when we came home that afternoon and my dad saw my mom, freaked out. They decided that they needed to do something. My dad, as the head of the family and protector, decided that he was going to openly challenge whatever was scaring us. So one night, he stepped into the second-story balcony to challenge the presence. And he said, I don't know who you are, but whatever you are, stop bothering my family. And if you want to bother somebody, face me. Well, as soon as he said that, the balcony door closed. So my dad tries to get into the house. The door is locked. So he starts pounding on the door so that my mom could let him in. So my mom goes to let him in, and the door won't open. It wouldn't budge, the lock wouldn't budge, the door wouldn't open, period. So they both got scared. My mom started praying, and all of a sudden she felt a presence behind her, and she looked and she saw the little kid that she always saw running around the house, kind of darting through the hallway, through the doorway of the room with the exit to the balcony. And as soon as she saw it, the door opened. At this point, neither of my parents had any doubt that there was something wrong in this house. So what are you going to do? You can call the cops. There's no Ghostbusters. So what did they do? They went to church, and they talked to a priest. So a priest came and prayed in our house and blessed the house and blessed us in the house, thinking that that would help. But the actual opposite happened. The activity intensified, especially around my mom. One night, my mom went to sleep, like every other night, and all of a sudden she awoke feeling a presence, like a cold presence, laying right on top of her and gradually pressing her into the bed, harder and harder and harder, to the point that she could barely breathe, she couldn't scream, she couldn't talk, she couldn't scream for help. She was pinned down against the bed, and my dad was just sound asleep right next to her. So the only thing she could do at that point was pray. My mom is a very spiritual person, and she started praying and praying and praying. What she said was, within a few minutes of praying, the little kid showed up right at the foot of the bed, touched her knee, and as soon as he touched her knee, the presence vanished. After this, my parents made the decision, we have to move out of here. So while they were making arrangements to move into another house, mind you, they had just purchased this house, so they had to rent a house and then sell this one. My brother and I had a direct encounter with this entity. And it was a stormy night. I don't recall if my parents were asleep or awake downstairs and watching TV. But I do recall that it was a stormy night. And there was thunder and lightning and heavy rain. And my brother and I woke up because of the thunder and lightning. So fascinated by the thunder and lightning, we were in a second-story bedroom with a wide window facing our backyard. So we are watching the show. And there's lightning and thunder. My neighbor in the back of our house, they had 2 little Cocker Spaniels. And those 2 dogs were in the middle of the storm, raining and thunder and wind outside, barking directly at our window. My brother and I we didn't know. We saw the dogs barking, but for whatever reason, we decided, why are they barking at us? So we looked at the wall opposite the window, and what do we see? There was a man with a black coat and a hat standing just like this, just like you see me from this angle, just like this. There was a shadow. It was a shadow of a man with a hat and the coat just standing. So we do a double take, right? If there's a shadow here, there's got to be a man there. So when we look at the wall, we see the shadow. We look at the window, there is nothing there. We look again, there's a shadow. We look at the window, there's nothing there. So we start screaming at the top of our lungs. We screamed and we screamed until we lost our voices. At that moment, the shadow just went like this, lowered his head, and kind of glided from one side of the window to another until it disappeared. Our parents came in, scared out of their minds, and that was the last night we slept in our room. After that, every night at bedtime, we had our mattress, pulled it into my parents' house, and slept with them on their locked doors until we moved out of there. So we finally made the arrangements. We had a house, and we were moving. My parents did not want to leave the house for somebody, knowing that there was something so wrong in the house. So they went to church again and talked to the priest. This time, 2 priests came. And they prayed and they sprayed holy water and they came with incense and they went through every room praying, trying to cleanse that house. That was the night before we moved. After they left, we went to bed, everything normal. All of a sudden, we awakened to loud bangs on the walls. There was like a ruckus outside of the room. You could hear people screaming. You could hear glass shattering. You could hear like furniture moving. And we were scared. It's a new word for scared at that point. But nobody dared to step out of that room without, during the evening, at night. So, lo and behold, We prayed until the noises stopped. And in the morning, my dad went downstairs to check the room, to check the house. The house was perfect, except that when he looked outside in the yard, there was a dollhouse and a trampoline in the middle of the house that weren't ours. Apparently, there had been a tornado that night. The funny thing is that the tornado affected everything from my house down and nothing from my house up. We always thought that there was a furious entity that was very mad about being driven out of our house. Happy Halloween. Enjoy sleeping tonight.